Hey now.
Did you do this?
Hey now.
Hey now.
So if you're being mean, I'm like, hey now.
Good. What is hi Phil.
Hey.
Very good morning to you, huh?
Yes.
It's
likewise.
10:14 in the morning. It took us like an hour to set it up.
Really?
We're getting slower and slower every time.
Yes, that's normal because we've done it a lot. What?
What?
Yeah, today was slow, but it's okay. It's a rainy day, ugly day. Yes, it's gonna rain. You don't know yet, but it is.
Is it gonna rain today?
Yes, a bit. Like Nieselregen.
Drizzle. These intros, man.
Just love.
We need to work on this. We need to work on this. So sorry to everyone who's
So if you are 4
4
years ahead, just go to episode 113. I think by then we know how to do it.
We'll have someone professional do an intro for us. Welcome to the
Sounds good.
It probably won't sound good on camera. Anyways, today's episode, whatever, you probably had a reminder of, like, the title of this episode is the number of the episode. So welcome to this number of the episode.
Next number.
Next number. No, so today's video, I hope you liked last week's episode about our
challenge,
photo
challenge.
We had some technical issues with that podcast, so please accept our apologies.
No further questions.
No further question. Just it wasn't on my end.
Yeah, it was.
Hey now.
Because the third, if you didn't know, we have 3 people actually on the podcast, and it was the other guy's fault.
Yeah, the other
Kevin,
dude.
motherfucker.
Kevin, that dude. I told you we shouldn't have him on.
I know, but he's so nice, you know?
Kinda.
And he brings food every time we record.
That's why we get him. That's why we get him.
There you go.
Anyways, tell us in the comment down below if you like the online episode. For us, it's much better to be in person.
It's a better dynamic.
It's a better dynamic, but
we like it more too.
We like it more. But it was nice to just do like a quick one on online.
Just Kevin is from New Zealand and he doesn't really make it here, so that's why he never is on the podcast.
Yeah, New Zealand, anyway, Antarctica.
He doesn't have internet too. So
no.
Yeah.
Smoke signals. Today's episode, we just want to talk about how ads and commercials and the way we make them and what we have to think about when we produce them and create them and edit them and do everything, how it has evolved and the new norm essentially of creating content for either it can be TV or socials, whatever. And there's been a drastic change in the way things are done over the past few years, and we've talked about how social media has heavily influenced the way people produce content.
Absolutely. And receive it and
consume it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And today we just want to talk about a little bit more about this, because this is something that is influencing us a lot in our daily work. Whereas like the delivery formats or the editing pace and stuff like this. So we just want to touch base on this.
And maybe also touch a bit what the future might bring and how this could evolve even further.
Yeah. What do you want to start with?
Let's start with what ads have been and kind of what used to be the standard and what used to be ads and content, and then go to what it has become and then maybe what it could become. Yeah. So, just let's talk about how were ads, ads haven't been around for that long, of course.
Yeah,
but
like video ads. Yeah, I think before the social media era, like video ads were mostly made for TV and maybe theater, like trailers and stuff, but mostly TV.
Yes. And
I think we with like the audience, the TV audience being the way it is, it's a captive audience. Like of course you can like change channels, but like most of the time you're just sitting, it's a commercial break and you just wait for the program to start back again. So you have this captive audience that is not really as distracted as previous, as how audience is distracted nowadays.
And I think back then people were really watching a TV more, more into like,
they wanted to watch TV.
Exactly. They were sitting down to watch. It was like an event. They were sitting down. Now we're watching the evening news. And it's not like it's just running and you're cooking next to it and you're kind of on the phone texting with your buddies. It's really, you're sitting down, you're watching TV and you're doing nothing else.
That's an activity.
Yeah.
Whereas
like all your attention is going to that TV.
Yeah. Whereas now it's like the ads we're getting served is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It could be like a small animation. It could be like a 5-second video on like a YouTube pre-roll. It could be like something in your TikTok feed and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And just like, I think this is one of the main differences between like how ads used to be and how ads are nowadays. It's just like how the audience perceives it.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like as well that now people know that they're being served ads, and if you want your ads to be efficient, you kind of have to find kind of like a workaround to have the ads not feel too much like an ad, as opposed to back in the days, like 20, 30 years ago, even less than that, maybe 10 years ago.
You were just really like, you were advertising that product.
You were advertising that product, like big
saying,
sets.
buy it, buy it now. It's cheaper now. And yeah, like you said, if you do that today, first of all, also people are more sensitized. I don't know. Like they know more what ads look like and what they are for.
Yeah.
So you cannot just bring them the classic, like, here it is, buy it. Yeah. It's cheaper. It's going to make your life easier. You have to kind of show that by showing emotions that are going to come, and so make the viewer not feel that it's ad. It's more content. It's something I would watch anyway.
Exactly. And that's, I think, a really tricky part. And I think a lot of companies have kind of like a hard time doing this. Mm-hmm. The bigger companies, I think they do that pretty well. But like smaller companies with like the type of clients I work the most with, mm-hmm. they're still in this like kind of like old school mindset where you produce one big ad and you post it in one place and that's about it. Mm-hmm. And they like kind of miss out on a lot of opportunities because like you have all these different channels that you can like advertise on essentially, mm-hmm. and they're not really aware of this. And I think that's I'm just finishing this. Yeah. I think that's one of the things we have to think about when we are asked to produce one ad, and it's also like a nice way for us to upsell something. It's just like, okay, you have this product you want to advertise on, we can make like a 30-second ad. That's fine. This will live on your website. If you go to mm-hmm. like mm-hmm. exhibits and whatnot, you can use this. But also think about like all the different mediums and all different channels you have to like put this ad on, and maybe mm-hmm. you just need like one screenshot for one, Google ads, and then you need one 5-second cut of this for like a YouTube pre-roll and stuff. So
absolutely,
that's our role as like video makers.
Absolutely, and people that like just like you said, I totally agree. A lot of smaller companies don't have that knowledge. Yeah, it's just straight coming from there. They don't have that knowledge. They're not working with big agencies that. Mm-hmm. That they just pay loads of money to do all of these things, like playing in all these channels, because that's expensive. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of version here, like checking that, reporting that, and it's not just one ad and you play it and it's good.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, you can the whole content thing you can divide in 3 parts basically: hero, sub, and hygiene content. Mm-hmm. And everything is just. Everyone, like the small companies, are just thinking about that hero content because that's the one they see, and the one they like. From the big companies, that's the one that gets shared because it's so big and so much thought into it. And it's not the sub content that they see and they're like, oh my god, that was so good. Mm-hmm. But that's actually the ones that sell things because it goes down that funnel. It's like attention. Okay, what is it? I'm just making an example. Coca-Cola. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, they did this big thing. Everybody watched. It was crazy. Super Bowl halftime commercial. Yeah. And then, but next you want to know, okay, what is this product? Okay, Coca-Cola is not a good example, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. And then you want to know, what is this? And maybe there's something for me, because after the first ad, you're just thinking about the ad. You don't even care about the product, maybe. Yeah. And then you're going down that streamline up to, I'm actually buying this product. Yeah. And people forget that whole rest that leads them to the product and to the whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a really good example that you made. But before, like, we had all these digital like platforms you can post on, I think people already wanted, like, when you promoted a product, you really wanted to have like multiple point of contact. Mm-hmm. In marketing terms, we say like the potential customer has to be exposed to at least 3 outlets of your brand to like remember it or buy it. And like back in the days, like people would have like one TV ad, let's say, then you have like one poster campaign like in the streets, big posters, and maybe you have an ad in a newspaper
or in the local shop. They put a paper up, and
this is essentially the same thing you have to do now. It's just that the outlets and the platforms have changed.
Yeah,
you can still use like poster campaigns or post stuff in your like local shops and whatnot, but now you have so many other platforms. And as you said, it's really hard for smaller companies that don't work with bigger agencies to actually have first the knowledge, of course, but also the manpower to actually like post everywhere, and as you said, like track and like have like monitored like the results and stuff. And
also you cannot forget, between ads you need to post your content, because if you're just posting ads, then nobody's going to care, because you're following brands because the content, the value they give you.
Exactly. And this is also like a really good point that you make, is that, and I think a lot of people make that mistake, is that you have the really hero beautiful shots, but you also need your everyday life, like basic content. And this might not be seen as like an ad, like per se. It's not like buy now this product with like, I don't know, like Kim Kardashian, like using your perfume and whatnot. But this is like just the daily thing, like, behind the scenes shit.
Yeah, posting a picture of the product, just being like, I don't know,
being used, or like the office, or like the team behind it and stuff. And this is just like communication in like the larger sense of it,
giving the person that follows an image of who you are, who the brand is, who the product is.
And this is, I think, something that a lot of people forget, like the social part of social media still have to be there.
But it's always been that way, funny enough. It's always been that way, that you have the base, you want to communicate what this brand is and what kind of thing that you follow, what's the reason you even exist, why does this product need to exist. And then you have ads that promote some, I don't know, a discount, or I don't know, a special or a new product. But the base has always been there, just in another form.
But the mistake I see a lot with smaller companies is that they only use their social media platforms for ads, as you said, only heroes. Like watch companies, they only post like the nicest pictures, like made in a studio or with like a famous actor or actress. And this is a big issue, because like at the end of the day, you're scrolling on Instagram, and I think it like goes back to what we were saying, like we have to be smart about ads, is that if you scroll on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and like the only things you see are really beautiful pictures, perfect pictures with like Tom Cruise or Brad Pitt or whoever wearing this thing and stuff, you're not going to be attached to it on like emotional level. Whereas if you see,
it's so far away,
it's like unattainable almost, and that's to go back to what we were saying in the beginning of the podcast, is that trying to find ways to push ads that don't look like ads. And I think that a lot of people try to do this with influencers, for instance, promoting their products kind of in a lifestyle way. It's become like a little over the top now. Some people just promote everything, but
also, I mean, it's a good point, and I like to go back to what it used to be, because it used to, the way I see it, it used to be, you wanted to make the commercials look like the movies you watch. Because that's what it's been the past years. Like in the 90s, all the ads were actually like, looked like films, like super professional. Like you said, all the best the actors in it, and the big companies could afford these big actors to star in it. And that's how it got shared, and everybody was watching it. Oh my God, there's, I don't know, Robert De Niro in this water ad. It's crazy.
It's insane.
And now we have been so accustomed to it that we don't even watch it if it's that like that, because we know it's an ad. We know it's not emotional. It's more, they want to sell me something,
or it has to be really over the top, like amazing
extreme
for you
then.
to watch.
But then you're watching it because it's something you've never seen.
Exactly.
But the kind of the just professional that you have seen, it's not. It's coming back. Like you said, it's coming back to, it needs to look organic. It needs to look natural, and it cannot look like ad. The viewer does not, cannot feel like he's being, like something is being sold to him. Otherwise he's out. And that's crazy, because it's done a full circle.
It's full circle. And I think I think it influences a lot, like the way we have to produce stuff as well.
Forget your Ari and your Red. Bro.
Yeah, but no, like
no, it is on social. It is like that.
It has its place, but like for more and more stuff, you just have to look really organic. And I think
especially TikTok is interesting.
Oh yeah, TikTok is crazy.
They don't like what I've heard so far and what I've talked about with people that really know about TikTok.
Yeah,
the young people that are on TikTok right now, like what is it, 14 to 20. The main part, of course, there are other people. They don't even go for, like, if it looks too professional, they're out. They have such a sensitive sensor to
what they're being like
what they're seeing.
Yeah,
they know exactly. Like, oh, this is ad. I'm out.
But
I don't want to see. I want realness.
That's a very good point. I think we're going to talk about like how it influences the way we produce stuff. But do you know the social media app called Be Real?
Mm-hmm.
And I think
just quickly explain what it is.
Be Real is essentially an app that it's a very, very social app. Mm-hmm. You can post only once a day and you get one notification a day and you have 2 minutes to actually take a picture of what you're doing.
So at a certain point you get a notification and then you have 2 minutes to post the picture of the day.
Exactly. So you can't really cheat. You can't post like backlog
at the perfect moment on the day. Yeah.
And what the cool thing is that it takes a picture from the back camera and the front camera. So you can't really hide
where you are
and stuff, and
you have to show basically everything
and I think doing. it's so much fun because I think we've got with this kind of app we've gotten back to the point where like the social part of social media is like the most prominent thing. Social. It's not social. It's just like
it's media.
It's media. It's just media. No, but like you just it's real. It be real, but it's real, and I think that's really interesting. It's not like the most you can't promote, you can't make ads on this, but just for
Not yet.
I'm not sure. It'd be interesting to see like.
Do you know who the owners and the makers of this is?
No clue.
Like USA, Asia,
no idea.
Europe.
No idea.
Okay.
I didn't look that up. Yeah,
we have to check.
We have to check that. But anyway, this shows like there's this trend. But how do you think this social media stuff, like being more real, like not trying to overproduce stuff, has influenced the way you work with clients and like essentially create content, if you want to call it like this?
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's only like, especially small businesses, only want to communicate on socials, on the internet, because it's super cheap, it's super easy. Yeah, that's also where the people are. Yeah, a lot of times, if you're not trying to talk to 60 plus. Yeah. And that definitely, a lot of people in the industry are kind of like, okay, Instagram again. They don't want to do this. They want this classical, the big thing. Yeah. But essentially that's what it is. It's advertisement, and where does money go? It goes where eyeballs go, and eyeballs go on the internet and socials. So
for sure,
it's a natural stream. But
how do you go about it though?
It's a good question. I haven't figured out the one way to do it, but definitely, I've grown up with it, so I understand social probably better than somebody that's already 40 years old or 35. And so like for me, it's I didn't want to say it, but you did.
I'm 33. I'm Jesus' age.
Oh, you're fucking young, bro.
35.
Not even 35. That's so young. Look at you.
I don't have any wrinkles, but that's because I'm half Asian. I got that good skin.
If you're full Swiss, you would be gray hair, no hair, nothing, all gone. So back to your question, how do I go about it? Well, honestly, I've only ever communicated on the internet. Yeah. I don't think I've done anything. I haven't done any posters. I haven't done any cinema ads. Well, I've worked on projects that have been played out, but it wasn't really me. I was more DPing on that. Yeah. I know, like, the way I grew up, I never did the old thing. That's the thing. I only did the new thing, the organic, not being advertising, being natural. I don't think I can really compare these two. I know what I'm trying
to say is that, like, I've seen some of the ads you created, and it's still like, it looks really good. The lighting is good. You can see it's not shot on an iPhone or like a GoPro and stuff like this. And to kind of like bounce back on what you were saying, I think producing content like this has its place, And if I were to choose, I would only produce content like this.
Really?
Because it's
like what?
Like really hot, like
Oh,
beautiful
okay, I
cinematic,
understand.
like
Okay. Yeah,
you know, cinema-like content.
Yeah.
But as we were saying, like, you know, TikTok, like Instagram Reels, and like, you know, even like YouTube pre-roll, sometimes you need to have this really organic kind of feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be well edited. You can have sound design and stuff. You can really follow the trends that are in TikToks, you know, like with kind of like cookie cutter motion graphics and stuff. But you kind of have to like dial down, not necessarily the production value, because the production value can be still there, but just like the overall the look of the thing. And have you find yourself like working like this, or
actually no?
When
I know it's only for social, then yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
But also, that's not what I'm trying to push, of course, in my portfolio and everything. That's two different things.
No, but like, I'm not talking about portfolio. I'm just talking about like clients that you might have had.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Definitely, if I know it's only for social, if I know it's gonna go in a story, I usually shoot. Like, if I know it's just story, I usually shoot on an iPhone. It just depends. It really depends what it is. But also, I don't think the organicness and the not advertising aspect of an ad is only coming from the look, because I think the eye. Like, TikTok is different, but I think social media and YouTube, we want this because our eyes and young people's eyes have, or in general, the things they view have become so good. Even small stuff. I mean, even YouTube videos. Talking head of a product review has become so good looking, and so good quality wise in sound as well. Everything that if you have something that's worse. Technically, worse looking, worse quality, that you're out as well. So that's the turn part. You have to make it quality wise good.
And this is
the eye, they want that.
That's interesting that you say that, because this is something I want to get to. As you said, we have different mediums. We have, you know, a YouTube, Instagram. We have TikTok, to just name 3. TikTok, I think. The minute you put up something that is too well produced, too beautiful, too similar, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work.
It's just too different from the rest of the content.
Whereas like Instagram, you can still have this kind of like kind of like social media paste kind of stuff, editing and stuff, but it can still be well produced. Yes. And I think this is very interesting, because
I agree.
Now, in our offers, in like what we offer to the client, I think we should be able to, for one campaign, let's say you have this new, let's say watch, because we're in Switzerland, watch campaign, like watch ad looks beautiful.
Yeah.
You have one 40-second ad. You have to like cut down this in like maybe 3 or 4 story, like reels, like 15-second, 20-second reels. And you also need something for TikTok if the watch is targeting a younger audience.
But then maybe you give the watch to a TikTok creator and let this person do something with it, because it's gonna look like the rest of the content on TikTok. Or
you could have like the TikTok creator being like one of the main subject of the hero movie, and then he does his promotion.
Exactly.
So this is how I think it has changed a lot the way we do stuff. And it's very interesting. And I think we're just in the beginning kind of like how crazy it's going to get in like the extremes. You're still going to have the beautiful hero videos, but you're going to go more and more into this, you know, really organic behind the scenes, like phone stuff, shaky. You don't really see it, but you have the vibe behind it.
Yeah.
And TikTok is just like a whole different medium. And it's not, because this is kind of where we wanted to go, like saying different outlets. I think now the amount of content that we have to produce and the format, we have so many different things.
So many channels.
It's not only one 16:9 30-second video. It's like this, but then you have 10 or 15 different assets that have to be created from this and or for a specific social media.
To a film producer just yesterday. Yeah. And I was talking about post-production. He said he's gonna be hiring more for post-production, a technical post-production, because all the versions, then confronting and preparing for cinema and here and there.
Yeah.
And he said, it's crazy, man. It's become crazy how many versions there are. He said just last week they exported one project, one ad for a company, 180 versions.
Yeah.
180.
That's crazy.
And the crazy thing, that's because we're in Switzerland, is you have different language versions as well.
Yeah.
Each thing you produce that is nationwide, you need to do 3 languages.
Yeah.
So you need to think of that in production. Like, does this whole thing work in all 3 languages?
Yeah.
Or do we need to do... Because you don't want to do...
And that's really hard. That's really hard to do. Yeah.
Especially because you're from one part.
Yeah.
You might speak the other languages, but you don't understand the kind of the culture in these. Because it sounds funny when we say that, but there's really a different culture in each of these language part in a small country.
For sure.
And that's super hard to understand. Like, do these people that speak French, do they get that humor? Is that funny to them? Do they, emotionally, do they react to that? Or is it like, we would never say that?
Just for the people who, like, listening, we can go over like 30 minutes. You have this one for the main.
And this one as well.
Yeah, but
so it's just me.
Anyway. I'll get an A747. For the people who don't understand, Switzerland, we have 4 national languages. One is barely spoken anymore. So it's like, we don't really talk about it. We have 3. We have French, which is my my mother tongue. You have German, which is Phil's. And you have a smaller Italian part at the south, which is
bordering to Italy, basically.
Bordering to Italy. Yeah. They speak Italian, and I've worked on like nationwide projects, but not only videos, but just like billboards and stuff. And it's very, very difficult because, as Phil mentioned, the culture in these different parts, even though it's like 15 minutes away,
you might drive 20 minutes and they speak another language.
It's completely different. And I think there are like a few countries where it's like this. Maybe the Netherlands, Belgium, for instance. They speak Dutch and French,
but they're much bigger.
They're much bigger, but still the
problem still stands, of course.
Yeah, the way the jokes, or like if you want to do something funny, maybe it's funny in one part and it's not, or maybe something doesn't translate well.
Also, influencers. Yeah, there might be German-speaking influencers in the German-speaking part, and then in the French part, there's like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah,
I don't care. Who's that? So you need to work with 3 different influencers. Yeah, or you have somebody like Roger Federer, who everybody knows, but that's another story. So all these things come into it, which makes a project might become 180 playing out
it's
versions.
Times 3, basically.
It's crazy.
If he was only in English,
and he told me like it might be for stories, the subtitles need to be a bit higher because of the text. For reels, even higher because of the whole bottom thing with the music and
all the formats.
So it's insane.
It's not only one 9:16. Yes. It's just like like shorts, reels, TikToks.
So they're hiring editors for the creative editing part, and then editors for the technical part, like the whole conforming and exporting, like really watching through, making sure every millimeter is in the right.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's the way it is.
It's the way it is. So that's a new norm.
It's the new norm.
Like the technical aspect.
That's what we need to do today. So just to wrap this up, Romain.
Yeah.
What are the things that are important today? Just to give like a quick review.
As filmmakers today, especially when you work with clients, I think it's really important to understand the different outlets. What you're creating is going to be
different channels.
Different channels.
More channels than there used to be.
Yeah, more channels. That means more versions. That means more. You kind of have to like think about it when you shoot it. I don't know.
Also, different channels makes different communication. It's not just put this one video made on all the channels.
Exactly.
Each channel functions differently. The people perceive things differently on that channel. So you have to keep that in mind. Good.
Keep that in mind. And then as filmmakers, I think it's our duty to just like kind of like educate the client. And it's also a really good opportunity for us to upsell a little bit. Because of course you can be hired out to just shoot like the horizontal video and then they have to deal with the rest. But like if you add value and like just by explaining and have them understand like, okay, you need like vertical this and this,
taking this away from them, taking care of it.
Take care of it. The cool thing when you take care of it is that it's more money for you, obviously, but also you're making sure the quality of the final product is there. Whereas sometimes when you give clients like a 16:9 video and then they try to crop in it and like the add text and whatnot, it looks terrible and it basically messes up with your work, which is not the greatest feeling.
It's like selling a car to someone that doesn't know how to drive it.
Exactly.
You make sure they know how to drive it, and then they'll have more fun with it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So I think this is something we can all do as like creatives, but this goes also for photographers or, like everything like where we produce content, graphic designers as well. You have to be aware of like all the, small details. As you said, the shorts are different than Reels, they're different than TikToks in terms of like placement, like where the logo could be and stuff. And
keeping in mind that for each, we have to communicate different, but in general, the general trend is more organic, more real, not feeling like an ad.
Exactly.
Because people don't buy because you're telling them it's the best thing. They buy because they are emotionally attached. They want to feel the way that this brand feels.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. That was a fun one. And I hope you liked it. And
for people who are on Spotify, make sure you rate the podcast. Give us as many stars as you like, but as many the more the better.
I don't even know how many stars.
I think 5. It's up to 5 stars. So definitely rate it. Would be nice. It helps us being discovered and seen as an important podcast on that platform.
Because we are probably the most important podcast.
Probably.
Yeah.
To like 5. Anyway, thanks for rating.
Subscribe.
If you've been on Spotify, definitely go check out YouTube because you'll see our faces. And if you're on YouTube and sometimes you might be in a hustle, just check out Spotify. We're on there as well.
I mean, you can subscribe everywhere. That's fine as well.
That's even better.
Yeah. And
hey now. Bye.
Love that. Bye.